I think that boredom is information, like actual data about you, not just nothing or something basically that we treat it as if it's some this empty, meaningless static that you're supposed to kill as soon as it appears. Using phones, snack, shows, scrolling, whatever. And like but I've started to think like that's backwards. I think every time you are bored, your brain's actually trying to tell you something really important, and the reason it's so uncomfortable is that the thing it's telling you isn't something that you would like to hear. When I'm bored, and I mean actually when I'm bored, like not waiting in line kind of bored, if I'm honest with myself, it's usually one of like two things going on. Like sometimes it's that I'm avoiding a decision, like that there's something I already know I should be doing, some conversation I've been putting off, or like some direction I know I should be moving in. And instead of just doing the thing, I just kind of float. And that floating, like that's where the itchy nothing comes from. Because part of me knows that I'm stalling, and the other part of me is like, no, I'm not. Like I'm just relaxing. I'm just chilling. Which, like, come on, like we all know that what that is. Other times, and this one's really harder to explain. It's not avoidance. It's more like disconnection. Like I've drifted so far from anything that actually matters to me that nothing in front of me really like doesn't even really register. And it's not that the world got boring. Like the world is not boring. The world is genuinely insane. Like there's an absurd amount of things happening at any given second. It's that I've gone so numb to my own stake in any of it. Nothing really feels like mine anymore. Like and when nothing feels like yours, it just kind of slides off you, you know. And I think this is like the part that I think scares people if they are being really honest with themselves. It's so much easier to believe boredom is a property of the room. Let me explain. There's nothing to do. Oh, this is boring. This person's boring. Than to consider like a way, like maybe it's a property inside me. Maybe the emptiness isn't out there. Maybe it's whatever I walked in with. And here's what I mean: like two people exact the same afternoon, same silence, same situation, same nothing planned, same everything, and one of them's bored out of their skull in 10 minutes. The other one starts noticing stuff, starts thinking, like wants to build something or ask something to, or like go somewhere. Same conditions, completely different experience. So it was never actually about the conditions, right? It was about what each person walked in carrying. Which okay, like this reframes the whole thing for me. Boredom isn't there's nothing to do. It's more like I brought nothing of myself into this moment, which is a very different sentence now. The first one blames the room. Second one's asking a question about yourself, and I don't love that question honestly, but I think it's the right one, and I think that's exactly why we medicate it so fast. Because sitting with question two is uncomfortable in a way that scrolling just isn't. If I grab my phone the second the itch just shows up, I never actually have to deal with the situation, deal with the investigation, let's say. I skip the whole thing. And the stimulation is just not distracting me from the boredom. It's distracting me from whatever the boredom was actually pointing at. So over time, and this is the part that really got me. I never deal with the thing. I just keep hitting snooze on the alarm over and over again. I think about this with avoidance a lot actually, because we talk about avoidance like it's this deliberate conscious thing, like you actively dodging something. But I don't think that's what it actually is for most people. most of the time, I think most avoidance just looks like this restlessness with no direction, immediate immediately by a reach for the cheap dopamine, let's say, like the quick stimulation that you can have, which is phone the most of times. Like that's like the whole mechanism of it. Nobody really sits down and goes like, I'm now choosing to avoid my life. You just feel the itch and follow it toward the nearest exit. It's not dramatic, it's just automatic. So I don't know, like, what would it actually look like to treat boredom like information instead of a problem? I think, and I'm still figuring this out for myself, to be honest. I think it means pushing, I think it means stopping before the reach, like pausing before the reach. Yeah. Trying to find the right word. Like, not forever. I'm not saying go sit in a dark room for 6 hours. Like, that's not it. Like, that's just performing stillness. That's its own kind of avoidance wearing a different costume. So I mean by pausing long enough to actually ask, okay, like, what is this? What am I not looking at right now? Is there a decision I'm cycling instead of making? Like, is there someone I should talk to but I keep putting off? Like, is there some part of my life I've quietly stopped showing up for? Because I think if you actually let yourself sit with that question, most of the time boredom has an answer. It's rarely actually about nothing. It's usually pointing at something very specific. And like, let's say a stalled project, a, as I said, like a conversation you've been avoiding, some value you've stopped acting on. The boredom's not the problem. Like it's more like a check engine light. Like, and what we do constantly is just put a piece of tape over it, and doesn't fix the engine. Just means you don't have to look at it while it gets worse underneath. Maybe this all sounds pardon. Maybe it sounds all sounds so obvious once you say it out loud, but I notice how rarely I actually do it. How automatic the phone reach is. It's not even a decision at this point. It's like boredom just shows up and the phone's already in my hand before I've even registered the feeling had anything to say to me. And I guess the thing I keep landing on is, if boredom really is information, then numbing it constantly is neutral. It's not just wasting time, like people say. It's actively choosing not to know something about yourself. Every time you kill it fast, you're kind of saying, whatever this was about to tell me, like, I'd rather not hear it right now. Which which fine. Sometimes honestly, like, not every itch needs a full investigation, but if it's happening constantly, if boredom's basically your default, the second nothing's demanding your attention, like, that's probably not nothing, and that's probably worth sitting with at least once before you reach for the thing that makes it disappear. So that's about it in this video. Thank you guys for watching.